Earlier today, Blizzard finally announced the release date for the patch 10.2.6 update and a brief, cryptic hint at what it's going to include. Hi, it's Lerald, and I'm going to talk about patch 10.2.6, Season 4, and WoW's future timeline, including when I expect the expansion will release over the next year. But before I do, be sure to like and subscribe. No, really do. Okay, let's just take a look at the tweet and the post first. As we can see here, we have a picture of the Warcraft logo with a big old Jolly Roger pierced through it, and the text that says begins March 19th. Okay, great. Now if we look at the news page, same sort of icon here, and a bold new limited time event waits. And then if we open that up, there's really very little being said about it here. It's one of the news posts of all time. Just to read it, mark your calendar for March 19, when the 10.2.6 content update goes live with a bold new limited time event. They're making it sound like Doritos. You won't want to miss out on the fun. It's important to note that Dragonflight Season 4 will go live several weeks after the release of the 10.2.6 content update. For heroes working toward the Emirdrasil feats of strength, you'll need to obtain ahead of the curve Farrak the Blazing before Season 4 begins, and the achievement is no longer available to earn. I expect we'll probably see some nerfs soon, but that's pretty much it for the post. There's really not that much to it. So I went down two different rabbit holes in looking at this post, and we'll get to those in a second. But first, let's talk about some of the criticism I've seen so far, because I think the people being critical have some merit. Blizzard's higher-ups, like the people who presented at BlizzCon, have spent the last couple of months being cute about this patch and saying, oh, we aren't telling what's in it, you'll just have to see. And that's a really weird approach to marketing a game. When companies want to build hype for a new movie or a game or a video game patch, they usually release teasers and trailers and let out bits of information here and there to create a sense of anticipation. Here's what we know about this upcoming patch. It's coming out. It has pirates. That's it. If this were like 2004, the inclusion of pirates would be cool. I would be pumped that a game had pirates. Then I would go watch Shrek 2 and eat a maple bacon burger at Applebee's for about $3.50. But it's not 2004 anymore. It hasn't been 2004 for 20 years. Saying there's pirates and then showing people nothing for 2 months is... maybe it's going to work out great next week. Maybe it'll be super exciting. All I know for sure is that there have been a lot of people grumbling about this approach so far. No one in any of my circles of influence is excited for the pirates. But hey, maybe they're all wrong and maybe this will rock. Okay, now let's jump down rabbit hole number 1. Let's take a look at this tweet again. The image looks like it's from Freehold. I was sure I knew exactly where this was. So then I looked at the news post and saw it in like a wider format, and then I looked at the actual news post full-size image and said, oh yeah, I definitely know where that is. I'm sure of it. So I dressed my evoker up like a pirate and I flew over there, and it's not quite right. Some of the pieces of the image are here as I get into combat and kill these guys off. Some of these pieces of the image are here, like these little pylons here and the torches with them. As you can see, they kind of line up to these pylons that are blurred out here and these torches that are blurred out and this weird sort of barrel looking thing. That all lines up, but like, where's this bridge? There's not, that bridge isn't the same. This building over here on the left side is the same as this building here in the Freehold arena area where you fight Trothak the Shark Puncher? Yeah, got his name. But then this banner here on the right side and this like flaming mast, that doesn't line up with what's happening here. So I kept looking, I kept flying around, and my channel manager joined in, and we flew around for a really, really long time, and we kept finding bits and pieces, but nothing that exactly added up to the whole thing. Like, just to show off some more bits and pieces, we found that mast and some of the hanging guys that are in this blurred out image here, this same mast with the banner here, and some of the hanging guys, like, they're sort of in here, but it doesn't quite all match up. So I thought maybe this was somewhere else in Tierra Sound. I flew all over the place, I kept looking elsewhere, we checked other zones as well, and nothing really ever came close. She suggested it might be part of Exile's Reach, so I made a new character and looked around there, but I couldn't find anything like this. So what's the deal here? Is this like a composite shot made up of different parts of Freehold? That seems like a lot of effort to then blur it out for the background of a random patch announcement. Maybe this is a new zone, a pirate zone. Maybe it's a temporary freehold scenario. It seems to me like this is something new, maybe not, but I couldn't find the place. I spent a while looking, so I don't think so. I think this is a new area, whether it's a new zone or an instance, maybe some kind of reskin of Freehold, I guess we'll see. But I think this is a place where we're gonna go look around and find new stuff in a new place. Now let's go down rabbit hole number 2. Let's talk about how this release date impacts our predictions of future expansions and patches, and let's go to the WoW timeline spreadsheet that I have and the WoW 2024 roadmap and kind of take a look at both of those and see if we can triangulate the War Within's pre-patch and release date based on Season 4's expected release time and how Blizzard handled Season 4 of Shadowlands. Alright, so we know that the 10.2.6 release date is next week, March 19th. And we know that Season 4, according to this post, is several weeks after the release. What is several? 3 to 5, I think, is a fair assumption. So that would put Season 4 3 to 5 weeks later. 10.2.7 is technically going to be its own separate patch. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. But we can see that 11.0 is going to be in the summer. The War Within release date is sort of straddling the summer-autumn line here, but it kind of seems a little more on the summer side, not to take too much out of that, but it's pretty clear that it'll launch like before Christmas, with 11.0.5 listed as being a content update that's going to come out in autumn toward the end of the year, but technically before the November-December holiday time period. So here's what I have cooked up in my old WoW expansion timeline spreadsheet. I went back and I looked at some pre-patches and saw how long the pre-patches were on average for the last several expansions. The 8.0 pre-patch lasted 4 weeks before Battle for Azeroth was put out. The Shadowlands pre-patch lasted 6 weeks before that expansion came out, and Dragonflight lasted 5. So 5 weeks is about the average time for a pre-patch to be out. I also looked at how long Fated actually lasted from the time it was released until the pre-patch came out. And to my surprise, because I really thought this lasted a lot longer, it was 11 weeks. So not 3 months even, 2 and like 3/4 months. Yeah, less than 3 months. Kind of surprising. I don't know, I thought it felt like it went on for most of my life. So to see that it only lasted for 11 weeks was kind of surprising. I think that Season 4 of Dragonflight is probably going to be around that same timeline. Maybe it'll be a little longer. 13 weeks would put the pre-patch for The War Within coming out in the middle of July, which actually does line up pretty well with this 2024 roadmap. It's possible that it's earlier. It's possible that it's later. But there is one thing, if I log over to my Demon Hunter to compare, there is one thing that has me thinking that The War Within wouldn't come out until after August, which kind of lines up with this 2024 roadmap timeline and would line up with the idea of a pre-patch that's about 5 to 6 weeks and a Season 4 that is between 3 and 4 months. All right, and here it is. I've logged on to my Demon Hunter, and here is Miss Shuilan, Madame Goya's assistant in the black market auction house. If you talk to her and say, I'm looking for something expensive, she says, I might have the thing for you. We have a limited supply of items. They will only be available through the end of August. After that, anything we have remaining goes onto the auction house. Well, that's normally how Blizzard handles rare items, special items that are available, that are like gold sync items. Once the expansion ends, think about the Brutusar, right? The auction house mount. Once the expansion ended, they knew that was going on the auction house. So that to me indicates that end of August is like right at the end of the pre-patch, and then the expansion would be coming realistically right after that. And if we look at the August-September timeline, August ends on a Saturday. The next reset is the 3rd of September in the US, 4th of September in Europe. I think that lines up pretty well with the rest of this timeline. We look here, I think assuming a between 3 to 4 month Fated season, about a month to a month and a half for the pre-patch, and then the War Within releasing right around that time frame. I think that all lines up pretty nicely. Then that puts at 11.0.5 patch, the one that is hinted at in the War Within content update here, and the 20th anniversary event coming out right around the end of October or the start of November. So obviously none of this is conclusive, it's all conjecture, but I do think it is interesting and I think it all lines up pretty well. It's also quite a bit ahead of the schedule that I was expecting, which I do think is a good thing. I've seen a lot of people saying things like, I hope we don't get another holiday raid, another Christmas raid. I definitely don't think that's happening. I think that we're going to have a raid, a new expansion, new raid and season and so on that runs from kind of more like the first couple months of school getting back in session. Not that that's a concern for me anymore, thankfully, but around the September range. And then things will be kind of dying down during the holidays this year, which will be a nice change of pace from the last couple. And then the next raid would be happening more like in the February range. And, you know, who knows what that's going to be, but February or March for a new raid, not raiding around the holidays. That all sounds just fine by me. All right, I think that pretty much covers it. If you like this video, give us a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye.